I'm Hayden. I'm in downtown San Rafael, California, and I'm standing just outside of the world-famous Christopher B. Rafael Film Center. It is here on 4th Street that for 89 years, people have come to be entertained. The theater has been through some big disasters, but it keeps being rebuilt bigger and better because people love movies, and so do I. My favorite is Indiana Jones. The earliest movies shown here were black and white and silent. Now movies from all around the world are seen here in their full state-of-the-art facilities. So let's go inside for a tour and learn some more about this great theater. I just wanted you to answer my questions.
Sure.
Alright, number one. Can you tell me the history of the Orpheus?
The Orpheus, that was the theater that was here before the Rafael. It built in 1920. It was a silent movie house. A very different looking theater than the theater that we see here today. And in 1937, there was a fire. And it was completely destroyed on the inside. And the people who owned that theater, they owned several theaters, but they really liked this spot in town, so they rebuilt it. And by 1938, they rebuilt the Rafael. They wanted a completely different looking theater, and they built this Art Deco theater to replace the old theater. Yeah.
And there was an earthquake.
Well, that's much later in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we have to fast forward to 1989 for the Loma Prieta earthquake. Right.
Interesting. All right. Number two. How did the Orpheus Theater catch on fire?
They think that it was a smoldering cigarette. Back in those days, you could smoke in the theater. And at the time, they had these very lovely plush leather seats, and they think someone left a cigarette behind. And in the middle of the night, just started building and finally started burning.
Cool. Number three. What was the first movie shown in this theater?
I don't know if it was the first one, but a film that was probably shown here was a film called Salome Jane, which is a film that was actually made in San Rafael. And we recently showed that film again. It's a film that was thought to be lost for all these decades, and then someone found a print of it, and so we had a very big event with live music, and we played the movie.
All right. Number four, was Walt Disney involved in this theater?
He wasn't involved in the theater, but certainly the Rafael showed a lot of Walt Disney movies. In fact, there are people who talk about in the early 60s when there was a Disney film in town. They knew it was a new movie that had been opening at the Rafael because the lines went around the blocks. All the way around the block as people waited again to see the new Disney film. Yeah.
All right. Number five, what was the damage to the theater after the 1989 earthquake?
There was some damage. There wasn't a lot of structural damage, but at that point it needed to be retrofitted to survive an earthquake. And that kind of construction is very expensive, so the people who were operating the theater at the time really couldn't afford to do that, and so they closed down and walked away.
All right, number six. How much did it cost to repair the theater after the earthquake?
Well, to repair the theater, also to retrofit it, to put in new modern projection equipment, to do all the renovation work, because by 1989 the theater was pretty worn out anyways. So it needed a lot of work. Even if the earthquake had happened, it would take a lot to fix the theater up. So between the renovation work, earthquake retrofit, also putting in extra screens, because it used to be a single screen theater up to that point. So we turned the balcony into a second screening room, and then next door to the theater there was a building, and then we purchased that piece of land as well. We built a third screening room, so that's all one building now, but we have three screening rooms. This main room that we're in now was renovated back to look like it did exactly in 1938, and the other two rooms have very different designs. So to do all that work was very expensive. It cost something close to $8 million.
Cool. All right, number seven. Does the Rafael do more than show movies?
Well, that's mainly what we do, but we also, along with showing movies daily, just, different kinds of films. We do lots of film festivals. We have filmmaker events. We might have someone like Leonardo DiCaprio come and talk about his latest film, or George Lucas, or all kinds of people who are in the industry. And so we'll show their movie and then have a on-stage conversation afterwards to ask them about their film.
I'm a big fan of George Lucas.
I bet you are.
Yeah. Number 8. Who is Christopher B. Smith?
He is on our board of directors, and he is a very generous philanthropist. He's given us quite a bit of money to keep us going, and just loves what we do and wants to support us, and is now actually helping to guide the organization by being on our board of directors.
All right, number 9. How did you come up with the idea for the Rafael Film Center?
Well, that would start with Mark Fishkin. He is the founder and executive director of the California Film Institute, and he founded the Mill Valley Film Festival in 1977. So he was showing movies annually during his film festival, but always wanted a permanent year-round home to show art films, and especially films and American Independent and all kinds of things. So he had been looking along with the rest of the organization for a permanent home, and we settled on the Rafael.
So what did you think was in the booth? Just a big, DVD player or something? Nah, it's film. Let me tell you what film looks like. Go here, step right over here. So this is the film we're going to be showing tonight in this room. It's called Two Lovers, and this is the movie. It's a 35mm film. Yeah? I'll show you what the film looks like. Have you ever seen a film before?
I don't think so.
You would see a still film, digital film. I'll show you something. This is actually a film piece, just a small piece of film. It's a trailer. We'll show this better. You see that right there? It's a small image. Just a whole row of them. That's how film works. So you have this running in a projector, and you have a light bulb that's in this projector. Let me show you over here. And the film comes from both discs, and it comes through here, runs through here. There's a big lamp here that turns on, shines through here, and the film's right there. So what's going on is there's something called a shutter in here, and as the film's coming in, it stops for a split second. This piece of metal then covers the light, so as the film moves out, and the next piece of film stops, and has then covers the light shines through. So you just a bunch of still images. But it looks like motion. Have you ever seen a flip book with little drawings of one from the next? That's exactly how movies work.
Yeah, I know that. My dad taught me.
Yeah. So in essence, though, when you're watching a movie, because the movie is happening is the shutter is coming in and covering the light source as the next frame is coming into place and then uncovering it. Half the time you're watching a movie, it's a dark screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could slow it down, it'd be black most of the time. So, but your mind puts all those images together as it's function.
How do you change the screen on
You can change it. Do what?
make it change what's on the screen right now? How do you make it change?
Well, right now we're running a video projector. This is our walk-in show. So we have, this is actually being run on a video projector from a computer, and it's a PowerPoint program so that people can see our upcoming shows. But when we go to start the movie, what we'll do, in fact, we'll go ahead and thread this up right now. Let's have a look at this trailer reel. This is how almost every theater in the world runs. And slowly what's going on is everyone's changing over to the latest digital projector equipment, but film still looks better. It still has higher resolution. But let's run this real quick. Yeah. Need to take a reel. So there's a big lamp in here. This is the projector head, and this is the sound head. The way this is designed, this hasn't changed in 100 years. This is a brand new projector. We put brand new projectors in the Rafael when we rebuilt it, but the way this is designed, the technology hasn't changed because it works so well. What's changed the sound? We have digital sound now. Film is always being improved, so the film looks better all the time, the way they make film. But the basic technology to project film hasn't changed for a very long time. I'm going to put a different lens in here. And then, you know, different films need different lenses. This is called an anamorphic lens. This is for really widescreen films. But this piece of film is not an anamorphic film. It's called flat. So I'm going to put a different lens in there. What's going on is that, like I said, you got the big lamp in here shining through the film, but then you need the lens to spread that image out onto the screen. Okay. What I'm going to do is run this to the take-up reel. We're going to thread the film into the projector. There's all these different gates and sprocket rollers, and we have to make sure that it's in there properly. Alright, and what we're going to do is I'm going to shut down this video projector, and I'm going to change the screen masking. So for different size film images, we have different black curtain that covers the screen so that it's, you know, nice clean edges. But this film has a different shape, so I'm going to change that, and you see how that's moving back now, because the image we're going to put up is a little bit bigger than what we just had. I'm going to turn on this lamp. I'm going to bring down the house lights. I'm going to start this up. Alright, here, let's just get right there. Let's see what's going on. Alright, and there we are. So these are previews of the light source shining through here. Now if you look in this hole right here, you can just see that kind of a blur? That's the shutter going past the film. It's blocking every 24 times a second. The image is blocked by that shutter blade. So 24 times a piece of film is stopping every second. So it's pretty fast.
Wow, what an awesome place. It has now been 10 years since the Rafael was built and reopened to the public. Everyone should come here and see this historic landmark and see a great movie at the same time. Thank you and goodbye.